Hello, this is going to be a review of 3 of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles action figures from the Nickelodeon line. Here we have Rahzar, TigerClaw, and Fishface. These guys all come in a bubble package with a J card attached to the back. And the J card on the rear has a detail information stuff about each of the characters inside. Like their story from the TV show, and then the kind of weapons they use, the team that they're usually on, plus a bunch of other figures from the series that you can try to collect. Each of those guys has that type of information. Now we're going to go ahead and open these guys up. Alright, so here are these 3 figures unboxed. We have Rahzar here on the right, TigerClaw in the middle, and then Fishface over here. Actually, he's on the right, he's on the left, sorry. So these guys are all pretty decent. They have, a few of them have more points of articulation than I was expecting. For example, Fishface here, he's got a double pivot here on his shoulders, so he has a pin joint there, and then he can pivot up and down as well. His legs also are just a single pivot joint. His knees don't have any articulation, which I was kind of expecting just because his thigh here is so thin. It would be kind of strange for him to have a pivot right there. Probably wouldn't be too firm. And he has a pin joint here at his waist, and also a pin joint here at his head, which I was surprised by, just because his backpack and how thick his neck is there. I didn't think it would have a joint there at all, but these tubes here are pretty flexible, and they actually move as his head moves, so that's actually pretty neat, because it gives him pretty good variety of poses between his head and his waist being able to move like that. Even though his legs don't really have much mobility, he can get in a pretty good amount of poses here. He comes with 2 accessories. He's got this oversized sword, and then this small, basically a small version of the same thing, which both of these weapons he has in the TV series at some point or another. And his hands hold these pretty well. You can see that he's got a pretty firm grasp on this, and this one as well. So that's pretty cool. His accessories are very useful. He looks pretty cool with them, although his oversized sword is a little bit huge compared to him. His paint job is decent, which I must say for this action figure series, their paint jobs are probably one of their most suffering aspects of the figures. But his is alright. But his eyes don't really focus on the whatever he's looking at. They're kind of right on the side, more like a fish. In the series, he kind of looks at what's in front of him, but he's kind of just mindless, googly eyes going on here. And you can see mine, it's probably just a bad figure, is the last one there. So, but he's got this random sulfur mark on this orange earmuff thing for his gills. So that's pretty strange. And it looks like he has some stickers with some design on his chest there, and also on his belt. And then his legs are just straight silver. He's got a decent gradient there on his chest, showing that I guess the difference in color on the scales on his stomach. So it kind of gradients into a firm white and then goes back to the pink color. So that's pretty nice paint. And then the rest is just kind of standard. Got a black chest, just no paint on his arms whatsoever. Also, I missed this joint here. He's got a joint in each of his wrists, so he's actually able to turn his wrist like that. His mouth looked like it might do something when he was in the box, but yeah, this is in the way, and yeah, his mouth is just firm. So that's Fishface. He's pretty cool. Alright, this guy, TigerClaw, he's one of the ones that I was excited about. He looked pretty cool. Probably the thing that I like most about him is that he comes with 2 guns, and they actually fit in the holsters on his legs, and those fit super well. That's actually really cool. It's just they don't fit very well into his hands. So you could work them in there, and once you do, they're gonna hold pretty tight. But his hands don't really have any. It's just a very thin slot there. And you just kind of gotta shove that right in. Yeah. So you'd hold it like that, and he can hold both. So that's pretty neat. His arms, the only articulation his arms have, just like the Fishface figure, are the shoulders, and he's got a double joint there, so he can pivot and rotate. So pivot and rotate on each of his shoulders, and his legs also pivot and rotate. He actually has knee articulation as well, so he's got the 90-degree pivot on his knees. His feet don't move at all, but his waist does, and his head does, and his wrists don't move either. So yeah, so he's got basically same articulation as Fishface, just instead of wrists we get knees, which is cool. His back, he's got his little chopped off tail, and then he has this kind of indiscriminate jetpack with just no detail whatsoever. In the TV series, you know, it's a jetpack. If you didn't watch it, it just looks like some weird hump thing on his back. I wouldn't really be able to tell it was a jetpack unless I knew already, so yeah. His paint job is also kind of suffering. You could see the paint on his feet kind of splashes over from his pants and stuff, and then his face has like basically no detail really whatsoever. Well, it's got the mouth and the stripes and stuff. His eye patch is kind of far back to actually be on his eye, but it's alright. And then his other eye is just white. In the series, he's got like blue eyes, like, you know, irises and everything, but they just didn't put that detail in there. And his mouth kind of just looks like paint splattered on there, but it's alright. It's passable. It's good. Just not really like, which is kind of what you gotta expect from, these are like $8, like younger kid toys, so definitely gets the job done for just simple playing and stuff. So now the Rahzar figure we're gonna move to real quick. He is this guy also stands really well on its own. He's got big feet. This guy, I just go back to him real quick. It seems like his left foot doesn't really reach down as far as his right foot, and since the only way they can really stand with each other is if they're like right, you know, side by side, he wobbles just because his foot is like just shorter, which is really strange. I feel like they should have gotten that right since they weren't going to give you any like difference in articulation, but that's just how it goes. He stands well though. His feet are all big, so it works. Now Rahzar is a sad disappointment. I really don't like this figure as much as I thought I would. He's super cool. The character in the show was super strong and neat and everything. The scale of all these figures too is kind of shown by the Rahzar figure because he's huge in the show. Like, he's bigger than both these characters, and they kind of make everybody the same size no matter their actual scale, just to fit them in the packaging and to have them in the same line. Otherwise you'd have some weird size differentiation all over the place. But yeah, he's really short. He doesn't stand very well at all. The only way that you can get him to position is if you stand him like that with his feet all and even then he's just falling over. And the reason for that is his left foot, you have to have him on his toes. His toes are bent forward like that, and his legs pretty much have the consistency of like a fruit roll up. Like, his legs are flexible as crap, and that's not because of joints or anything. It's just like cheap feeling plastic. So he just, yeah, he put him on his feet like that, and if his joints don't give in under the weight of his body, his toes are just gonna bend forward and he's just gonna fall on his face. So he's basically like playing with a formed fruit roll up. His articulation it's about the same. It just seems a lot worse just because his joints are so small, because his extremities are so small that they just give in under the weight of his own body. Like, his upper body is just so big. So he's got a double joint here at his shoulder, just like the others. He's got a double joint here at his leg. And that's really the problem with his standing, is just because his legs are so thin, that double joint is also thin, so it just kind of doesn't really hold up. He has a waist pivot here. He has no head pivot, just because his head is so huge. And actually, just a second. It looks like they might have tried to put some head pivot in there. You just can't really access it because this, like, his hair is going over his shoulders. So it looks like you might actually have something there, just it's unusable. So whatever. So yeah, that's there. His hands also have absolutely no articulation. So he's kind of stuck in this, like, Hamlet pose of, you know, Hamlet in the skull thing. Which, you know, I guess you could kind of put him in a cool pose or something, but it's not very versatile. His other hand has no pivot either, so he's kind of continuously in this, like, weird, I don't know, weird hand pose thing. The one accessory that he came with is garbage, and that is this. It's a hand that's supposed to go into this hole on his arm. So he's got this little hole, you put this little stick in there, and if you do anything, it's just gonna, like, slide right out. While he was I actually had it in earlier. No, it's not doing it because it wants to embarrass me. But there it goes. Yeah, if it's straight down, it just falls right out. Also, I don't really know what the point of this was, because if you have it in, he's got 2 sets of hands. And I also have not seen in any point of this TV show where he shoots his hand at someone, or his hand just randomly comes off when he's hitting someone. I have no idea. It seems like a pointless thing they just wanted to add just to say he had accessories. I would have been satisfied if they, you know, improved the quality of the figure a little bit more, but didn't have accessories, because the character's really cool. They just didn't really do much, like, to portray that in the figure. So if you're wanting to get this figure just for the sake of having him, then go for it. I would not recommend it for, I don't know, I guess collector's purposes if you're going to keep him in the box or something. But if you're going to try to get a figure to play with, this character's not really all that great. Unless you're going to try to, like, modify him somehow. I don't know how you would. You, like, thicken his legs with some type of, like, green stuff or something, and I don't know. But he has a very simple paint job, so I can't complain about it too much, just because it's literally just his base plastic color is the dark black, and then every color that's on him is just this standard gray, and he's got orange eyes. And his eyes are pretty well painted, just the orange slits. You don't really have any, like, overflow from those at all. And his face is alright. His hand looks like they kind of airbrushed a little bit far. Brushed a little. But, yeah, he's alright in that aspect. So, yeah. So, those are the 3. I would say I was expecting, upon opening them up, I was expecting for TigerClaw to be the coolest one, but I actually think I prefer Fishface. He's pretty cool. And he just feels like a pretty solid figure. And it's unique character. Rahzar is just dumb and a disappointment. He can just lay down over there. So, alright, well, thank you very much for watching. And feel free to leave any comments or anything I haven't covered. It's the first time I've done an action figure review, but I'm planning on trying to continue on with it, probably with the same series. So getting some more Ninja Turtle stuff, but I'll probably be branching out a little bit later on. So if you have any recommendations for things I should have covered next time, and also any characters that you might want to see, just leave them in the comments, and I will be sure to respond. Thanks. Bye.